Yo. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to episode 7 of the Average Commute Podcast. And if it's your first time, welcome. Hey, it's your boy Jake. I'm riding solo today. Normally John's with me, but he's still in Africa, so I'm riding solo today. I'm riding dirty. I'm riding solo. So hopefully this is gonna be incredible, you guys. It's gonna be great. Anyway, we got a great agenda for you today. But I just want to give some shout outs. I want to give some announcements. Hey, if you're not following us on Facebook, okay, you're watching the Average Commute Podcast on YouTube, or you know what, you're on SoundCloud and you're like, hey, I found these guys, they're pretty cool, I'm giving them a listen. You need to go to Facebook if you have it and give us a follow. We post some exclusive videos there. We post some funny things. It's awesome. Go to Facebook, give us a follow. You'll be grateful you did. You'll be glad you did. Okay, you're gonna go, Jake, thank you for telling me to follow you on Facebook. Okay, so we're building a following on Facebook. Also, guess what? If you're like, you know what, Jake, SoundCloud isn't working for me. I want to use Spotify. Did I just drop an announcement? Did I just drop a spoiler? We're on Spotify. We did it. I wish John were here to celebrate with me, but we did it. Just episode 6 is on Spotify right now. Feel free to check us out on Spotify. Give us a listen. I'm going to upload episode 7 as time goes on. I apologize. I have a little bit of the sniffles. I'm out of allergy medication. My allergies are terrible today. You guys, my allergies are terrible today. But anyway, we gotta make some shout outs, okay? First off, 20 subscribers. 20 subscribers. Hashtag wow. Hashtag I'm proud of y'all. We did it. I set a goal by July 13th to hit 20 subscribers. Guess what we did? We took that goal and we threw it up in the air. And like Babe Ruth, while it was in the air, we pointed to the outfield and we crushed it. We hit it as far as we could. It went to the outfield. Awesome. For those watching this on YouTube, guess what? Yes, you see me. I'm waving right now. You see me. I'm actually recording this in my home office. So what's up? You get to see a little bit of my home office. So anyway, guys, 20 subscribers. We got 100 views. Can you believe that? 100 views on our 6th podcast. Awesome. You 100 viewers out there. What's going on? What's good? Keep watching, keep liking, keep subscribing, because there's better and better content out on the way. We released a second episode of Fit and Fat. My editing was, I feel like, a little bit better. John even gave me a shout out from Africa. He was like, hey, great job editing. I was like, wow, John, thank you. So anyway, check us out. I have to shout out some people that subscribe to us. So if you guys, by the way, if you subscribe to us and you have the notifications on that notifies us when you subscribe, some people turn that off. But if you do that, it notifies us when you subscribe and it tells us who you are. So if you do that, we will subscribe back to you, and also we're going to shout you out. So first off, I'm going to shout out my main man, one of my homies for a long time. His name is Dallas from Man Plus River. Dallas, thank you. Dallas is an incredible YouTube star right now. He's also big on Facebook. Just released an incredible new show called Sunk and Found. I encourage you guys to watch it. Honestly, it's awesome what Dallas is doing. Dallas, again, is a lifelong friend. We actually went and took some community college. We had a community college class together, psychology. Shout out to Dr. Lempinski. But anyway, that was some fun times. Dallas, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the subscribe. And thank you for the listens. Also, shout out to our boy Lincoln Hall, one of John's dear friends. Lincoln, thank you for watching and thank you for subscribing. Andrew Kaplar, you made it. You were our 20th subscriber. So Andrew, thank you. Do you get something? I don't know. We're still working on that. And then that B-Man guy. Okay, that B-Man guy is one of my dear friends. We served a service mission together in the Boise, Idaho mission. We were never mission companions, is what they call it. You know, if you've ever seen members from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, those missionaries, they're in pairs. We were never a pair, but we became good friends from the mission. And just give him a shout out, guys. If you haven't checked out his channel, that B-Man guy's channel, check it out. He does some awesome gaming videos. He's on Twitch. Give him a follow. I'm giving him a shout out. Anyway, this could be you, guys. This could be you. You subscribe. It notifies us. I'm shouting you out, and I'm telling people to follow. Anyway, guys, welcome back to another edition of the Average Commute Podcast. Okay, do we have some incredible things for you guys up today? Okay, it's gonna be a normal podcast. I'm going to go over the same 4 topics that we always go over, and it's going to be maybe a little bit shorter. But we'll see how long I can talk for. Without John, it's kind of hard, the back and forth. But hey, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be incredible. All right. So let's start off. I set a goal for 20 subscribers by July 13th. We killed that goal. We crushed it. We just straight up, it became one of the Forgotten Road, one of the unsolved murder cases. We just destroyed it. And so now I bumped it up to 30. Let's get 30 by July 13th. I think it's totally doable. All you got to do is hit that like button and hit that share button. Okay? If you view, even if you haven't subscribed, share it. You guys, our podcasts are awesome. Just give it a share. Just give it a share. Help a brother out. Give it a share. Okay, let's get 30 by July 13th. Okay, enough. Out of the way. Let's dive into the podcast. Let's dive into it. We're going to start off with some news. And, as always, I got Florida man stories. Okay, let's start off with some Florida man. You ready for this? Florida man arrested after breaking into a Wendys, stealing a vault of money, and then, here's the kicker, boys, cooking himself a victory burger. Get this. My homeboy breaks in. He's being called the Hamburglar. He looks like the Hamburglar. He looks exactly like the Hamburglar, just not purple. Homie goes in. Oh, no, it's not purple. He's the other guy. But he looks like the Hamburglar. He breaks in. Homie goes in. He goes, and he breaks into Wendys. All right? He goes, okay, where's the money? Where's the money? Finds the money. He's trying to crack the code, and then something hits him. Wait a second. This vault is small enough for me to carry. So what does he do? Takes it, starts carrying it, and then he goes, wait a second here. I'm hungry. And I did something incredible. I figured something out. I figured that I don't have to break the code. All I have to do is carry this. I'm proud of myself. So what does he do? He watched an episode of Fit and Fat. He was like, I need some burgers. So homeboy, fresh, never frozen, Wendys, takes a burger and starts cooking it and gets caught. Florida man, why? So anyway, you guys, check it out. You guys can just type in Florida man Wendys. It's a hilarious story. Homie breaks in, they cooks himself. The modern day Hamburglar is what they call him. Homie breaks in, cooks himself a hamburger and gets caught. Incredible. He was successful. Actually, he was successful. He broke into 2 other restaurants and cooked himself some dinner in 2 other restaurants. Wow. And then he finally got caught. So you guys, there you go. We got the Ohio woman that breaks into a home and makes herself some food and then also cleans up the whole home and everything like that. And then we have the Hamburglar that does it in Wendys. I don't think he did any cleaning though. Well, let's get into some other news, some actual news. This is, we always know the Florida man is actually real stories here. But let's get into some like actual big news here. President Donald Trump, DT, he went to North Korea, and it was awesome. You guys, I'm not gonna lie, I have a soft spot in my heart for the Korea conflict. I love South Korea, and I love this. I mean, I don't love the story. It's a sad story about North and South Korea and the battle and things. But when South Korea, if you guys haven't watched this video, go to Google and type in South Korea and North Korea, hold hands, the presidents hold a hand, and they walk across the border. You guys, this was from a while ago. It almost brought me to tears because it was like, wow, what an incredible moment where these 2 huge opposing countries did it. So President Donald Trump just recently went to North Korea and met with the president there, Kim Jong-un. So incredible, you guys. He's the first president to ever do that. Whether you like him or whether you hate him, that's an awesome accomplishment that he was able to do that. It may be from past presidents, whatever it may be. I'm not telling you my political affiliation at all, but incredible. That was incredible that he was able to do that and break some ground there. So awesome. If you guys follow that, because hopefully we can help North Korea out and kind of break the cycle that's North Korea. All right. So anyway, that's the news for today. Now it's time to dive into my favorite segment. And now that John's not here, I'm going to try to do some tech. It's going to be really short for you guys, but we're going to dive into some techie tech. So let's dive into some tech. If you can hear my mouse in the background, some ASMR, as always. Let's dive into tech. Okay, so we got the autonomous cars. Tesla, we have to mention Elon in every episode. Praise Elon. You'll see me in the video bowing. Check this out. Airbus is pushing ahead in tech as it claims for single pilot planes. So if you guys know, like the Boeing 747s, if you ever ride a commercial airline, flying wherever you need to fly, let's say you're flying from Arizona to Texas or whatever it may be, you jump on a 747 or 757, whatever it may be. You always have these two pilots. They want to make sure everything's good. You have a pilot and a co-pilot, right? Well, these guys go, you know what? The pilots, we don't have as many people wanting to become pilots or wanting to become commercial airline pilots for that matter. How are we going to solve this? I'll tell you how we'll solve it. We will start to introduce AI into the cockpit to help reduce the amount of tasks, mundane routine tasks, so the pilot, the single captain, can put the human element into it and make sure that everything runs correctly. But that way we don't have to have a co-pilot. Incredible. You guys, this is groundbreaking. So they're working on that currently right now to be able to do that. Check it out, you guys. It's on CNBC.com. Look up Airbus pushing ahead in tech. It's incredible that they're literally doing this. So let's read a quote. Quote, embedding more and more artificial intelligence into our systems will enable us to start by relieving pilots from more mundane tasks. So to keep the human element, they're going to keep two pilots as they start to introduce this and slowly but surely test it to where it could be just one pilot. Wow. You guys, pretty soon we're going to have self-flying planes. I mean, planes already have autopilot. They already do. But we want to make sure those pilots are there to ensure, everything runs smoothly. But this is going to be able to do that for them. That's incredible. That's amazing to me. That's amazing. There's someone who saw a need, said, hey, there's not as many pilots. How are we going to solve this problem? And they did it. So incredible. Just another Elon, all right? So now let's dive in. Let's dive into the business portion of the podcast. We're going to start with some stocks. Anytime a president does something like what President Trump did, where he went to North Korea and it shows that there's good relations between nations, you will generally, you'll see a rise in the stock market. Well, today happens so just so happens to be all my stocks are green, and it seems like a huge, great surge in the stock market. And plus, the 4th of July is coming up, and so I believe that has to factor into it somehow too. So all the stocks are up, anyway, so good news for stock market holders. The stocks are up, and so if you're looking to sell, you should probably sell today. I know a lot of them are up quite a few points. So if you're looking to sell, selling today might be wise. And then taking that money and buying it when the stocks go lower or whatever it may be, so that way you have some cash on the side. So there you go. There's some stocks. Now I'm going to talk about an interesting stock. I mentioned this in the past, but I'm going to dive into it a little bit more today. CVS Health. CVS Health. You guys, CVS, so we had like Walgreens, CVS. These are these, small, they were like these stores that had these big pharmacies. They were known as, the pharmacy stores, right? Well, then you get like Costco's and Walmart's and things like that, which Walgreens, Walmart, all that stuff. But anyway, Walmart was like, hey, we can start to implement that, integrate that. And so you saw this decline and you're like, oh my gosh, CVS, Walgreens, they're all going to go out of business. Well, CVS said, well, let's get into the health game. And so they started to like produce their own medicinal drugs and things of that nature. And that saved them a ton of money. That made them a ton of money. And then they said, hey, let's get into clinics and doing things like that. So they're currently doing that. But the reason why I've been very fascinated by CVS Health is just recently, not too long ago, just a couple months ago, they struck a deal with Smile Direct Club. So if you guys know who Smile Direct Club, they just got appraised for $3 billion. They're and my family's a family of dentists, by the way. So our family's a family. My brother's a dentist. My brother-in-law's a dentist. My father's an orthodontist. We're a family of dentistry. My wife's a dental hygienist. My sister-in-law's a dental hygienist. I could go on and on and on. I'm the only one that didn't go into it. But when I came down here, I ran a bunch of Invisalign-only clinics. We were like the Smile Direct Club, but the way we did it was different. If you want to ask me about my business one day, you can totally ask me about it. I actually left that company not too long ago. But anyway, if you want to know more about it, it's awesome. So Smile Direct Club, they said, hey, this Invisalign thing, let's build our own Invisalign. Let's make our own Invisalign type thing. So it's just like those clear aligners that go over your teeth and that adjust your teeth. And let's mass produce it and let's ship it out. Now, there are some legalities behind it, and I don't want to go into it. It's illegal in some respects because you don't have a dentist. But they claim that they have dentists and orthodontists overseeing their cases. Just by the results, I don't know. I'm not here to make any accusations or anything like that. But anyway, they're a huge organization, and they got to be doing something right. They're making they just got appraised for $3 billion, $3.2 billion. Incredible. So they just partnered with CVS Health to start putting clinics in every CVS. So now that's big. All right. So you guys, what I'm trying to say is CVS Health is going to be on the rise, and I believe they're going to hit their peak probably in the next couple of years. They're going to peak out, and then they're going to slowly decline again as kind of things fizzle out in the nature of healthcare. You're going to see more and more hospitals kind of go to this self-sustaining approach of, hey, let's produce our own pharmacies, let's do this. So CVS may kind of draw back from the limelight, but I just want to say, you guys, now's probably the time to invest in CVS Health. Check it out. Do a bunch of research. Remember, you invest in people. That's my biggest tip. Invest in people. So look into the company, do some research and do there. But I'm definitely starting to check out CVS more and more as this healthcare, we say healthcare is a mess right now, but I believe that, there's a lot of good being done in healthcare, and we can kind of sort this all out as we move forward. So anyway, check it out, give it a follow, give it a like, and really start looking into CVS Health. That's my stock tip for the day. Now, my business tip. Last time we talked about what happens when you don't get the job, right? What happens when you don't get the job? We talked about that. And we talked about the question, where are you going to be in 5 years? All right. Today, I want to talk about something different. I want to talk about you're in the business and you kind of feel like maybe you hit your peak, or you're just kind of like cruising along and you're just like, okay, what's next? What's the next step, right? I just want to start off by saying this. Continuing education is so key. So one of the tips that I do, one of the things I like to do is I will go down to my local Goodwill. I will go to a local Goodwill or a Deseret Industries or something of that nature, just a thrift store. And they always have this book section. And once a month, with my wife, I'll pick out some books, and I'll take those books and I'll start to read. And my goal is to try to finish the books that I pick out before we go again on the next trip. That's a small way of continuing education. So what I mean by continuing education is not that you have to go and start taking more and more college classes. Now, if you're like, in a job and you're like, what I want to increase, get that graduate level degree. A lot of places are saying education is not important. I believe that there's some aspects of education that are key. All right, get a graduate level degree if you haven't gotten it. Expand yourself, and if you're looking for ways to do it, WGU is a phenomenal program. It's an accredited university online. It's awesome. Look it up. It's great. But if you're looking for some ways just to kind of keep that mind going, those creative juices going, reading books once a month. Okay, that's one thing. And if you want some great book selections, I read anything. So I'm like fiction, nonfiction, whatever it may be. I have a collection of business books that I like that are just kind of like continuous improvement or lean management strategies, things like that, to keep my brain kind of going along in business. But anyway, if you're looking for that, you can totally comment below, and I'll give you guys some ideas for some books. But there's some other ways that you can do some continuing education. Start asking your higher ups, or start communicating with people that have been successful in some ways. And start asking some questions. What was it that kind of was the break for you? What got you successful? Whatever it may be. You guys, it's so key. Education in whatever business you're in or whatever you're doing is so key to just not only improving who you are in the business world, but just who you are as an individual. And honestly, if you notice a pattern, if you really look deep into a pattern of everything I talk about business, John and I talk about in the business sense, is about improving yourself. All right? It's about really maintaining and it's about obtaining that potential that you have. Because I believe that everyone has an incredible potential on earth. And that they can be and do whatever they want to be and whatever they want to become and do whatever they want to do. And it's just a matter of kind of, getting in that mindset and then just going out and doing it. And so I believe that continuing education and bettering yourself and your mind is key to doing that. And that starts with, again, getting a book or whatever it may be and just reading and exercising your mind. Maybe you do crossword puzzles. Maybe you go out and you start talking to people who are successful. Maybe you just better yourself by just going, you know what, I'm going to be a better customer satisfaction or patient experience, or whatever it is, whatever field you work in. And you just start communicating more with people. Because when you communicate with people, you learn from people, right? And so doing stuff like that. Maybe it's starting a podcast and just researching random things and talking about it, right? So whatever it is, continuing education is key in bettering yourself in a business sense. So and it looks really good. You become more articulate when you speak, and people will notice it, right? I don't take myself as very intelligent or anything of that nature, but I can articulate myself in interviews and things, and people tend to notice that. And so it's important that you continue to better yourself in that respect. So continue in education. Now that kind of dives into our heart to heart. It always does. It always does, guys. So let's get into the heart to heart. John's not here, so I'm going to pretend. Heart to heart. In today's heart to heart, I'm going to discuss something that's been weighing on my mind. And it's going to start off with a story. So for those who don't know, my background is in healthcare administration. My background is in kind of, the business side of healthcare. And I've always wanted to kind of be an executive in that type of role. My hopes and dreams and aspirations a while ago were to run a hospital. And so I'm going to kind of talk about this journey, and I'm going to kind of talk about kind of my thoughts on a recent experience I had. Okay. So for those who don't know, my background started off with Intermountain Healthcare in Utah. And I was a patient experience intern. Learned a lot about, when I was there, I worked with some incredible directors and administrators and CEOs and learned a ton about healthcare administration and fell in love with this ideology of helping people in a grandeur sense. I always wanted to be a medical doctor and treat people that way, but I fell in love with this ideology of, wow, I can affect change on a grandeur scale. So I kind of started centering my career path around that, and door after door just kept opening up for me. I just kept getting green light after green light after green light, okay? Well, recently, I took a job out in Arizona to move back here in Arizona. I took a job with a startup company out here that specialized in Invisalign-only stores. Speaking of Smile Direct Club, here we are, right? In this Invisalign-only stores. And my job was to be the chief operations officer of the company. Now, I was really young. And these guys knew it. The partners that owned the majority shares knew it, and I was really close with one of the partners in the company. They were much more experienced, and I don't want to say older. They were just more they were much more experienced than I was, and it was this incredible opportunity. I was very humbled that they would allow me to do this, and so. I was currently working as an analyst for Intermountain Healthcare. I get a couple of these phone calls to just some minor consulting, like, hey, how would you do this if you were my shoes, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of came to this point where they had me fly out to Arizona, and so I was like, great. So I flew out. I kind of did like an interview, so to speak, just kind of sat in a meeting and then just offered my opinion. And then they said, hey, we could use you. We could use just kind of your background. We could just kind of use kind of like a gopher guy and someone to help us get this started and then kind of help run it in the future. And if you do well, then your name could be COO or potentially even CEO, right? And go from there. So it was this incredible opportunity at a young age. I was 26. I'm 27 now. And so this was actually very, very, very recent. And so I was like, wow, this is going to be awesome. So I tell my wife, I said, hey, there's this incredible opportunity. I pick up my family and we move to Arizona, back to Arizona. That's where we're from. And my wife and we moved back here. Now at this time, I'm very open with this. My wife and I were struggling to have kids. So it was kind of like this thing of like, we had these doctors in Utah that were working with us that we knew very well just because of my job and because, Michelle had seen them so much. And we moved here, and it was like this, lo and behold, this great, I'm going to call it a blessing, this great blessing, because we move here and we get in touch with this great doctor, fertility doctor, and then my wife gets pregnant. So I'm helping manage this company. I'm helping do this. And there were some minor red flags at the beginning. I'm not going to lie. There were some minor red flags. I noticed that one of the partners and one of the other partners weren't kind of seeing eye to eye. They were both orthodontists, weren't seeing eye to eye about business practices and models. But it was nothing that scared me to the point of like, this is all going to fail, right? And so I kind of continued what I was doing, and I tend to agree with one of the partners more than the other, just because I just felt it aligned more with my thoughts on how to run this. And so little by little, I was kind of tasked with doing these things. I got a lot of things done, and then I just kind of fell into this void of like, there's not much to do, and one of the other partners kind of taken over a lot, and just all these different things. To make a very long story short, so let's sum up to now. I moved my family out here. We move into this newer home. We're paying a bigger rent. We were going to buy a house, but something told us not to, so we didn't. And everything felt right to move here. My wife gets pregnant. We're having twins. So there's some great news there. But I gave up everything. I mean, I kind of closed that door to Intermountain Healthcare in a way. I mean, I didn't completely close it, but I kind of just, in my mind, just went, I'm done. I'm done with that. This is the rest of my life. I own part of this company. We're going to sell this for billions of dollars. We're going to make a ton of money. And at 30 years old, I'm going to be a millionaire, and life's going to be great. Right? Well, this kind of not seeing eye to eye developed more into this kind of animosity. I don't know how to really quite describe it, but just kind of like this, you know what? I don't think I can continue to work here anymore with one of the partners. And so, make a very long story short, one day I walk in to the partner that I kind of got along with more and things of that nature. I walk into his office to bring a check to one of the employees that just kind of temp for us over the weekend. And I bring him a check to give it to one of his employees, and he says, "Hey, I need to talk to you." I'm like, "Oh no, like I screwed up." And I'm not gonna lie, like I there was just something about, I just wasn't happy. I wasn't happy where I was at, just because of just kind of the situation I was in, and one of the partners was just making it very hard for me to work there. We just weren't jiving, and I was just very unhappy. And so I sit down with the partner I like, and we're talking, and he just looks at me and he goes, "Jake, I don't know how to put this in any other way, but I'm out. I'm out. I'm putting in my resignation today. I'm done. And I'm done with this company, and I'm just going to continue to do my thing with my orthodontic practices." He's very successful. And he goes, "And I'm going to kind of go do my own thing eventually with some other business ventures and ideas, and we'll keep in touch, and maybe we can be partners then." And I went, "Oh, wow." Like, it took me by shock. And when he said he was done, it kind of dawned on me. Like, he's like, "What are you going to do?" And it dawned on me, and I just kind of was like, I think I'm done. And not because he was done, but because it kind of was like, oh my gosh, he got out. I could get out, and I'm not happy, and he wasn't happy. It was kind of like this thing. And so, make a very, very, very long story short, the next day I walked in, and I put in my resignation. I said, I'm out. I'm done. It was great, an awesome opportunity. I was a executive person for 10 months. I learned how to start a company. I learned how to build a company. I learned how to run finance. I learned all these things, and it was an incredible opportunity. But I'm done. I can't do this. And I'm not going to lie to you. It was super relieving. The first couple of days, I was like, this is great. But then reality hit. Guys, my wife is having twins. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, wait a second, I don't have a job. Now, I did get a severance package, and I did get a severance package in the sense of they kind of understood the reason why I was leaving, and they compensated me kind of for the next several months until I found a new job. And so here I was, and I was backed into a corner, and after 2 days of bliss of like, this is great, I went, I have nothing to do. I'm done. And I just, this anxiety and depression and all these things just came, and I was defeated, and I became bitter, and I became angry, and I got really mad at this partner. Like, it was his fault. I could have been, running this guy. I could have had tons of buku bucks and all these things. But in reality, I realized that I had, part of it was me, and it was my decision to leave. And so I just felt like I had hit this complete red light in my life. I felt like I had these series of green lights, and I screwed this up, and I hit this red light, and I just felt like all hope was lost, like I was done. And I'm trying to pick up the pieces. Now I'm going to have to go back to school. I'm going to have to do all these things. Now I'm going to have to find a new job. And do I even want to work in administration? Do I want to try to go to medical school again? Do I want to do all these things? Like, what am I going to do? And that's what leads me to this heart-to-heart. So often in life, you guys, we are put into a situation where we hit a series of green lights in our life, a series of green lights where we're cruising. And then all of a sudden, we hit a red light. Or some of you out there may just feel like it's been one red light after another, right? And we hate these red lights. We hate these times where life forces us to stop, and life forces us to our car to break down or whatever it may be, and we're just stuck. And we're like, what do we do? This is miserable. What do we do? So I was in one of those moments. And I've learned, after this 2-week period of just kind of bitterness and anger, it just dawned on me. And I was talking to a friend of mine who was really struggling and kind of going through something similar. And was like, Jake, I'm backed into a corner and blah, blah, blah. And I had just kind of come out of this lull. And it dawned on me, this analogy of this red light, green light type thing. And I said, you're stuck at a red light. And he goes, yeah, I'm stuck. And he goes, I can't run it. I don't know what to do. And I'm just bitter. And I said, you know what? Here's the secret. Eventually that red light's going to turn green. And I said, what are you going to do when it turns green? I said, are you going to be stuck sitting here moping and crying and doing this? And I said, or are you going to do everything in your power right now to prepare yourself for when that light turns green? Because you get to determine when that light turns green, you get to determine how fast you go. You get to determine to take off, right? And then it just hit me, this whole analogy of I'm stuck at this red light, but I've learned to love the red lights. I've learned to love them because it's become a time for me to reflect on what I could have done better, on what went wrong, but also to gain patience, some temperance, and go, okay, in the future, when the lights do turn green, here's what I'm going to do to just gun it. Here's what I'm going to do to just gun it. But for those who are stuck at a red light right now, let me give you some awesome, awesome words of comfort. Eventually, they always turn green. Eventually, the red light you're at will turn green, and it's going to turn green like that. And you're going to be sitting there. And so you have to get yourself in a mind space to be ready for when that light turns green to just go, to just give it all you got. Now, let me tell you where my light turned green, okay? So if you guys follow me on the Facebook page, you guys may go to the About Me section on the Facebook page. And I wrote just like a 2-paragraph summary. I just literally one day just typed it up, edited it, just a tidbit, and then just posted it. You kind of see where this background and this idea came for this podcast. So, I was in college, I'm sitting there, and I hit this red light of what am I going to do with my life? All these things, kind of similar to what I was a while ago. And the thought came to me, what if I made a series that was just about average people where we just discussed, what's the day in the life of Joe Schmo at McDonald's? What's the day in the life of Joe Schmo, the president of Brigham Young University? What's the day in the life? Because I just wanted to see what it was like to be in a variety of jobs. Because you can YouTube and Google as much as you want, but there's just some kind of disingenuine feel about it, and I kind of wanted to make a genuine approach and interview process. So that idea came to me a long time ago, and then I hit a series of green lights when it came to healthcare administration. But here I had this red light, and then the light slowly started to turn green, and all these things happened at once, and I had to be in the right mind space, and I'm not going to lie to you, at the time I wasn't, and then I became. And let me tell you, so I got, the light turned green in the sense of I get approached to to help out with another startup, and I did my research this time. And by the way, I made a blog post about this. I started blogging just for fun. So if you go, I'll post it on my Facebook page. But look up Average Commute on Blogger.com. Look up Average Commute. You'll see it's called the Traffic Lights of Life. And this is kind of where this came from, this idea to talk about this today. But anyway, this green light came, and it was Jake. A family member of mine approached me and said, "I have this idea, and I want to make this big." And so I started doing all this research and stuff, and I went, "Oh my gosh, this could be really successful." And I would have 50% of the say. So that way, hey, guess what? It would be a lot better. And plus, it's a family member, and we get along, and we understand each other. And so I was like, wow. And then the idea for this podcast came. And guys, when the green light hit, and I was ready to go, I just started running. And people may call it ideas and things like that. Man, like you have a brain that just has no. I call it inspiration. It was like things just came and it just fell into place. Almost like if you guys, I'm on this Paul McCartney high from the Beatles. I went and saw Paul McCartney live, and it was incredible. Guys, that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I saw one of the Beatles. I saw the Beatles live, and that was unbelievable. And then I went and saw the movie yesterday. Got invited by a friend of mine, and we went and saw the movie yesterday, my wife and I. And anyway, I've been on this high, but one of the stories that I love about Paul McCartney is "Let It Be" is one of the most famous songs in the world. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, right? Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. He tells this story how he's in this lull period of his life, and he's partying a lot, he's doing all these things, and he's just kind of sick of it, and he's tired of it, and he's trying to figure out what life is all about. And he has this dream, and his mother comes to him in the dream. His mother had passed away, and said, "Paul, let it be." Awesome, you guys, awesome. And so kind of the same thing in this podcast just starts coming, and then, okay, what are we going to call it? The Average Commute, and that's not taken. So we start doing that, and then all these ideas. Hey, this is what you're going to call this. This is what you're going to call this. This is what you're going to call this. And hey, this is how you're going to grow a fan base, and this is what you're going to talk about, and these are the subjects you're going to focus on, and this is blah blah blah. And then this idea comes, hey, you should approach your brother John, because obviously, if you guys watch this, doing it single is hard. It's so hard without someone here kind of bouncing off the communication. And anyway, so I'm sitting here, and this idea comes, you should talk to John. So I approach John, and John goes, dude, I would love to. Shout out to brother John. And John sat there, and he said, Jake, this is how we can make it even better. And John kind of helped revolutionize the podcast to what it is today. So the reason I bring this all up is, hey, it's small. I only have 100. I only have 20 subscribers. I hit 100, my first 100 views on one video, but we have like a collective of I don't know how many hundreds of views on our videos and stuff. But it came, and it's been such a therapeutic thing for me. And then this other business came, and the green lights came, and I had to be ready to floor it, and I had to be ready to say let's go. And so for you guys out there that are in a series of red lights, or who have just hit a red light in your life, and you're like, why am I at this red light? What's going to happen? Just know the light will turn green. And it's a period of time in your life that you have to start fine-tuning your car. You got to start doing all these things. You got to start finding, okay, when is the light going to turn green? When it turns green, am I ready to go? And you have to be ready to go for when the light turns green, because when it does, you got to give it your all, and you got to just gun it. You got to gun it. And oftentimes, when you hit red lights, it's an opportunity to say, maybe this wasn't the right career path. And for me, that's kind of what this has been, is maybe this wasn't the right path. Maybe I'm supposed to go back into medicine. Maybe I want to do more consulting. Maybe I want to do counseling and life coaching. Maybe I want to start a podcast and focus my time on that. And so I'm just in this period of just kind of driving and going and going until the light turns red. And when it does, I'll do some more pausing and reflecting and going, maybe this is something I want to continue to pursue. Maybe it's not. But the point and the fact of the matter is, the lights always turn green. The lights of life always turn green. Well, that's been my motivation. That's my motivation for you guys out there. If you're ever in a hard place or a hard time, feel free to reach out. I'm not a certified counselor or anything by any means, and I want to make that well known. But I have a ton of experience counseling people, helping them get through hard times, a ton of experience in life. I know I'm only 27, but I've had some rare opportunities, and I've hit a lot of walls and a lot of a lot of red lights in my life, and I've learned a ton. So anyway, for those out there watching, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the 7th edition, the 7th episode of the Average Commute Podcast. As always, you guys are the best around. You guys are the most incredible fan base there is. You guys are the best. The commuters, we're the fastest growing podcast in the nation right now. I'm just going to say it. We're growing, baby. Hey, we got some incredible things coming your way here soon. We got 2 Day in the Life of the Forgotten Roads is going to be posted here soon. I'm going to do a fun video for 4th of July. You know what, guys? I appreciate all the love, all the support. Comment, like, share below. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day.